While I was on a business trip, my husband blindsided me with a call. We're done. The apartment's gone. I'm starting a new life with my girlfriend, he chuckled. I kept my voice steady, but once I returned home, the tables turned, and so did his smile. I froze. My hand tightened around the phone, and for a second, I couldn't breathe. The audacity, the complete lack of remorse. It was almost laughable, except it wasn't. My home, our cozy 2-bedroom apartment in the city, the one we'd worked so hard to buy, the one I'd fallen in love with the moment I saw it, was gone, just like that. And then he dropped the bomb. Nicole and I need the money to set up our life together. She deserves better than that tiny place anyway. Nicole. The name stung like a slap across the face. I'd suspected for months that Tyler was cheating. His late nights, those sketchy work trips, the way he'd grown distant like I was an afterthought. But hearing her name so casual, like I was the intruder in their story, it lit a fire in my chest. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw the phone across the hall, but I didn't. Sounds good, I said, my voice steady as steel. No way was I giving him the satisfaction of hearing me crack. Let me back up a bit. My name's Amelia, and up until that call, I thought I'd married a man I could trust. Tyler and I had been together for 6 years, and yeah, it wasn't always perfect, but I believed in us. That apartment wasn't just a place to live, it was a symbol of everything we built, or at least everything I thought we built. Looking back, there were signs I ignored. Tyler's dismissive attitude when I asked about money, the way he'd brush off my concerns with a charming smile and a quick kiss. I thought his confidence meant he had it all under control. Now I see it for what it was, manipulation. He thought he could play me, and for a while, I let him. That day at the conference, I sat through meetings, nodding like a robot while my mind raced. Tyler thought he'd won. He thought he could sell my home, walk away with the cash, and leave me scrambling. But here's the thing he didn't know. The apartment deed was in my name. Months ago, when we refinanced to get a better interest rate, I'd had it transferred to my name alone. Tyler, being Tyler, didn't bother reading the paperwork. He just signed where I pointed, too lazy to ask questions. His carelessness was about to bite him in the ass. By the time I got back to my hotel room that night, my shock had morphed into something else. Resolve. I wasn't going to cry or beg. Tyler wanted to fight. Fine. But this was a fight I was going to win. I called Chloe, my lawyer, and one of my oldest friends. I laid it all out. Tyler's call, the sale, Nicole, everything. He sold the apartment? Chloe said, incredulous. Does he even realize he can't do that without your consent? I smirked, a tiny spark of amusement cutting through my anger. Apparently not. He thinks he's already spending the money on his new life with Nicole. Chloe laughed, that dry, no-nonsense laugh of hers. Well, he's in for a rude awakening. The sale's invalid. You've got sole ownership, and if he's taken a dime from the buyer, he's on the hook for fraud. That word, fraud, sent a jolt of satisfaction through me. What's next? I asked. We notify the buyer the sale's illegal, she said. Then we send Tyler a letter spelling out the consequences. If he tries anything else, we'll drag him to court. I hung up, and for the first time since that call, I felt calm. Tyler thought he'd outsmarted me, left me powerless, but he'd just set himself up for the ultimate humiliation. For the rest of the trip, I threw myself into work, compartmentalizing like a pro. The betrayal stung, no question, but the thought of watching Tyler's smugness crumble, that gave me a purpose I hadn't felt in months. When I boarded the plane home, I was ready. Ready to face Tyler, ready to tear down his lies, ready to start over. This wasn't just about winning, it was about taking back control. The flight gave me hours to think. Tyler's arrogance was unreal. He hadn't even tried to hide his betrayal like I was just an obstacle to bulldoze on his path to freedom. But instead of spiraling, I focused on my next steps. He thought I was powerless, but I'd been playing the long game without even realizing it. When I landed, I called Chloe from the airport, hauling my suitcase off the luggage carousel. I'm back. What's the plan? She was all business. We've notified the buyer. They're pissed at Tyler and ready to cooperate. I sent him the letter this morning, lays out the illegality of the sale, your ownership, and the fraud charges he's facing. No response yet, but I bet he's fuming. I grinned. Good. Let him stew. Walking into the apartment that night felt strange. Tyler's stuff was still there, his jacket slung over the chair, his shoes tossed by the door, but the energy had shifted. It wasn't our home anymore, it was mine. I set my suitcase down, took a deep breath, and braced myself for the storm I knew was coming. Sure enough, Tyler came barreling in that evening, face red, waving his phone like a weapon. "What the hell is this?" he shouted, referring to Chloe's letter. "You're telling me I can't sell the apartment? It's half mine." I crossed my arms, calm as ever. "No, Tyler, it's not. The deed's been in my name for months. You can't sell what you don't own." He froze, his face a mix of confusion and rage. "What are you talking about?" I grabbed the deed from a file I'd prepped and held it up. "When we refinanced, I had it transferred to my name. You signed off on it, remember? Or did you just skim the paperwork like always?" For a moment, he was speechless. Then his face twisted into a sneer. "You think you're so smart, don't you? This doesn't change anything. I made a deal, and you're gonna look like a fool when it falls apart." I didn't flinch. "The sale's already void, Tyler. The buyer knows, and they're ready to sue if you don't return the money. Oh, and if you've sent any of that deposit, you're in deeper shit than you realize." His confidence cracked just for a second. "You don't know what you're talking about," he muttered, avoiding my eyes. "Oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about," I said, stepping closer. "You've spent years treating me like I'm too naive to notice your games, but I've been paying attention, and now you're gonna deal with the consequences." He started pacing, his frustration boiling over. "This is ridiculous. You're blowing this out of proportion. You can't just kick me out." I raised an eyebrow. "Actually, I can. This apartment's legally mine. You can stay for now, but only because I'm giving you time to figure out your next move. Don't mistake that for weakness." Over the next few days, Tyler's anger turned to desperation. He blew up my phone with voicemails, some begging, some threatening. Meanwhile, Chloe worked her magic. The buyer rescinded the agreement, furious at Tyler for wasting their time and money. Chloe started the divorce paperwork, assuring me I was in a strong position. He's got no leverage, Amelia, she said. Between the voided sale and the fraud charges, he'll have to cooperate if he wants to avoid a bigger mess. It wasn't just about the legal win, though. This whole thing forced me to face how much I'd let Tyler control me. For years, I'd ignored his arrogance, his dismissiveness, telling myself it wasn't worth the fight. But now, I saw how much I'd given up, and I was done settling. My best friend Lauren came over one night to help me box up Tyler's stuff. "How's he taking it?" she asked, holding up one of his tacky ties with a smirk. "Not well," I said, laughing despite myself. "He's still convinced he can talk his way out of it, but I'm not budging." She tossed the tie into a box. "Good. He doesn't deserve an inch of your space or your time." Her support meant everything. For so long, I'd felt alone in my marriage, carrying the weight while Tyler took the credit. Now, I had people in my corner, and that changed everything. The final showdown came when Tyler showed up with Nicole. I was at the dining table, reviewing paperwork, when they strolled in like they owned the place. Nicole, all smug with her arm looped through Tyler's, looked around and said, "So, this is where we're staying?" Her voice dripped with entitlement. I stood, my heart pounding, but my resolve rock solid. "No," I said firmly. "This is where Tyler was staying. You, Nicole, won't be staying here at all." Her smile faltered. Tyler looked stunned. "What is this?" he demanded. I gestured to the apartment. "This is my home. Not yours, not hers, and definitely not a hotel for you to shack up in after stabbing me in the back." Nicole's expression turned icy, but she stayed quiet. Tyler, though, was about to explode. "You're being unreasonable," he shouted. I met his gaze, unflinching. "No, Tyler, what's unreasonable is thinking you could sell my home, pocket the money, and expect me to roll over. You're lucky I haven't filed criminal charges yet." Nicole's perfectly manicured hand tightened on her purse. "Wait, what's she talking about?" she snapped at Tyler. "You said this was your apartment, that you sold it." He flinched, trying to brush her off. "It's complicated. I'll handle it." "Oh, it's not complicated," I said, stepping closer. "Tyler tried to sell an apartment he doesn't own. The sale's void, and he's facing fraud charges if he doesn't return the money." Nicole's jaw dropped. "Fraud?" she whispered, stepping back from him. "Are you serious?" I crossed my arms, dead serious. "And I'm ready to press charges if he doesn't get his stuff and leave by tonight." Tyler's facade crumbled. "Amelia, please," he said, his voice breaking. "We've been together 6 years. You can't just throw me out. I didn't waver. You threw me out the moment you made that phone call, laughing about me finding a new place to live. You tried to ruin me, Tyler. Don't act like the victim now." Nicole was done. "This is insane," she muttered, clutching her purse. "You didn't tell me any of this, Tyler. You said you had it handled." Before he could respond, she stormed out, leaving him standing there, stunned. I couldn't help but smile as the door clicked shut. "Looks like you're on your own," I said, turning to him. "Now let's talk about what happens next." He slumped onto the couch, head in his hands. "Amelia, I screwed up. I know, but you don't have to do this." I grabbed the divorce paperwork from the counter and set it in front of him. "I don't have to, but I'm going to. Sign these, Tyler. The sooner you do, the sooner we can both move on." He stared at the folder, pale and defeated. "You really hate me that much?" I let out a bitter laugh. "Hate you? No, I feel sorry for you. You had everything, a home, someone who loved you, and you threw it away because you couldn't see past your own ego." I gave him until the end of the day to pack. When he walked out, coat in hand, he didn't even look at me. The door closed, and I locked it with a new key I'd had made. For the first time in years, I could breathe. The apartment was quiet, but not empty. It was mine. No more Tyler, no more lies, no more weight of his entitlement. Lauren came over that night with takeout and wine. "Is he really gone?" she asked, flopping onto the couch. "Gone and not coming back," I said, pouring us glasses. She raised hers. "To fresh starts and well-deserved victories." I clinked my glass against hers, to never letting anyone walk all over me again. Over the next few days, I made the apartment my own. I rearranged furniture, hung my favorite artwork, filled the space with things that screamed me. It wasn't just redecorating, it was reclaiming who I was. Chloe kept me updated. The buyer dropped any plans to pursue fraud charges, and the divorce was moving smoothly. Tyler signed the papers without a fight, probably realizing he was out of moves. A month later, my life felt unrecognizable, in the best way. The apartment wasn't just a place, it was a symbol of everything I'd fought for. I found an old photo of Tyler and me, back when we were all smiles and hope. For a moment, I felt a pang of sadness for what could have been, but then I tucked it away. That life was gone, and I was done letting it define me. Lauren and I celebrated the finalized divorce at a rooftop bar downtown. "Single life suits you," she said, raising her cocktail. I laughed. "It's not the single life, it's the freedom. For the first time, I'm living on my own terms." We toasted to that, and as the city sparkled below, I felt proud. I'd faced betrayal, fought back, and come out stronger.